Welcome in to Bobcat Live. We are inside Rosie's at Wayward Social. Thanks so much for joining us. And yes, he's finally back. I was wondering if he was even part of the show anymore.
I was in
Dylan knows everybody.
I was enjoying the Palm Beaches and eating octopus and Peruvian foods, going to Cuban bodegas.
Oh, my word. Don't even talk to me about Peruvian food.
It was delicious.
When we went on our honeymoon last December, we went to a place, and it was like something cantina. And I thought, okay, we're going for Mexican food.
Yeah.
Peruvian restaurant. So never had Peruvian before.
So Peruvian food, because I went down there, it's one of those things that messes with your mind because basically in my estimation of what I had, it's like what you have in Sunday dinner here in any farm in Iowa, but different. So what I had was octopus, and it was phenomenal. It was done a lot like steak almost, and then it was fried potatoes and hominy. So it was basically you had kind of the steak, potatoes, and corn. It was very reminiscent but different.
My experience was much different. I had a drink, and I actually had a couple of those. Those were very good. But the food was terrible. I mean,
this is a family show, Brandon.
It wasn't terrible. Well, we're on YouTube exclusively tonight. But anyway, I had white fish, and I didn't know, but I can't read anything, and I'm asking him questions.
Where did you go to high school?
So anyway, it came out, and I thought I was getting hot fish.
Yeah.
And it came out, and it was cold, like very, very cold. And it was like in this yellow thing, and it was like very thick. And then it had these brown chunks in it, and it looked like dog food. And it was terrible. And it was like this little, and he's like, are you sure that's all you want? Most people get this and this. And I'm like, no, I'll just start with that.
I'll start with the brown chunks.
So anyway, I had that, and my wife looks over to me. She's like, are you going to get more? I said, I think I'm done here. So, yeah, but hey, at least I can now say I've tried Peruvian food.
You don't know what it's called, and you just kind of know the colors of it.
Yeah. I was very confused on what was going on.
I think we'll have to try it again.
Yeah, I think I need to give that place a second shot in Maui. Anyway, welcome back.
Thank you.
You haven't been on the show for a while, but I know you've been with us for our games. But things really rolling along. We've got end of the wire here on a lot of seasons. Football, just a couple more weeks. Volleyball starts playoffs on Tuesday, and a lot of other sports, winding things down like golf.
Well, you think it's in our fourth season together, and I think we say it every year is,
fastest 9 weeks of the year.
It's 9 weeks, and we're in game 8. It's almost all of a sudden we have one home game left, one road game, and it just in like a blink of an eye. And then, like you're saying, volleyball is coming. We're going to have swimming on. Swimming State is here in a month here in Marshalltown. You just have different people across the board, and fall sports are wrapping up quickly.
Yeah.
And we can see the weather's turning and everything.
It's getting cold quickly as well.
you just got to buckle up and just enjoy the ride. But before we know it, basketball is going to be here. Wrestling's going to be here. Santa Claus is going to be here. Lots of stuff.
We know him.
We do know him.
We know Santa. That's for sure. We also know Adam Goodvin. We're going to talk to him.
I don't know Adam Goodwin.
I don't know Goodwin, but I know Goodvin. Hey, we'll talk to him when we come back. We're talking Marshalltown Bobcat football. This is Bobcat Live inside Rosie's right here on KFJB-TV. As you walk inside, you know right away the place for fun is Wayward Social. There's always plenty of bowling action, so plan for your next outing to include bowling at Wayward Social. Also, meet your friends at their outdoor patio, Gutter Point, for lunch, dinner, or your favorite beverages. Daily lunch specials, Monday through Friday, including endless pizza by the slice. You choose the toppings. Wayward Social is now open at 11:30 a.m., 7 days a week. Wayward Social, South 6th Street, Marshalltown.
The right insurance agent can make all the difference. Assured Partners agents represent multiple insurance companies. They can pick and choose from a larger variety of outstanding insurance options. Assured Partners also handles life and health insurance and Medicare supplement coverage. With access to local, regional, and national insurance companies, Assured Partners will create policies tailored to the coverage you need. For more information, go online to assuredpartners.com Marshalltown. Power through partnership with assured partners in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines.
Scouts in Marshalltown go on fun adventures. Scouts learn about the outdoors. Scouts learn character building. Scouts learn citizenship. Scouts learn life skills. Scouts learn to be leaders. Scouts go to fun summer camps, and Scouts get a head start in life. Marshalltown has produced over 200 Eagle Scouts in our over 70-year history and have provided over 1 million hours of service to our community. To learn more about joining Scouting in Marshalltown, go to iascouts.org. Adventure on!
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
Back in on Bobcat Live here on KFJB-TV. Hey, stop out. $3 off a small pizza tonight, all right? So if you're looking for like maybe a single pie, Dylan, what would you get?
Oh, man, I would go here is, gosh darn it, what's it called? It's the barbecue one that's phenomenal.
Okay.
That would be the one.
All right, get that. Also, show your student ID for a discount here tonight as get a discount on your food. And just show that student ID. Thanks so much for joining us at Rosie's at Wayward Social. Adam Goodvin with us now here on Bobcat Live. Coach, heading into week number 8, we were just talking about it. This is the time of year where kind of the playoff push for a lot of teams. Southeast Polk number 1 and in 5A. I know you guys won't make the playoffs this year, but we've talked about it all season. And in your 7th year now, we've always seen an improvement throughout the entire season. Jacob Hayes and his maturation and just kind of expecting that. Is that something you lay out every week? Is that, hey, you still have to go out there and prove yourself regardless of a record?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk a lot about going about our business the same exact way we would if our record was flipped. That's how we got to do it. We got to work consistently and things are going to take care of themselves. And we can only hope it's, in the win column. But, here's where we're at. And, at times it's tough to get that communicated across to 16, 17-year-olds. We only have 2 18-year-olds on the team. But, they've done a great job. They show up every day with a good attitude and work hard. So it's been a lot of fun.
You look at this year with the state of Iowa, and it's kind of interesting. Cedar Rapids Jefferson now at 25. Hard to believe they were ranked 5th in the state. They got off to a hot start, but things can really change in a quick, fast hurry. Ed Miles had a really good start to the season, but once you really start playing some of those tough Metro teams, that's when, unfortunately for a lot of teams, that's when some of the losses pile up.
Yeah, like you said, it is unfortunate, but, that's the facts. Some of those Metro schools have a lot more depth than some others, and, injuries happen throughout the year, and, this time of year there's a lot of kids banged up, and you never know who's going to be playing, but it's interesting every year to see how it all shakes out.
Well, and you look at, like the depth piece is so interesting because Valley – they lost their number 1 wide receiver before the season even started, and so trying to fill in, and they got off to a really rough start this year. But that's the difference. You look at Southeast Polk and how many guys they have standing on the sideline versus some of these other schools, and it is really at the end of the day there's talent across the board. You have plenty of talent on your team, but that next man up mentality sometimes is a little bit harder than it would be at a Southeast Polk versus another school that maybe that depth isn't quite as deep.
Yeah, 100%. You said it right there. There's not a whole lot to say other than that, but, it's tough. It's, especially when you get guys banged up and they're unable to play, and even when you got guys that are pretty beat up and they're still going out there, fighting through it, being tough and all that stuff, it makes it tough. But situation we're in, we're not going to hang our heads and pout and feel sorry for ourselves, but in reality, it's tough.
Was there any conversation, sorry, Dylan, was there any conversation on redistricting this year, and I know people have floated out their own ideas. I even feel that there should be an own level of football for example, the Des Moines Metro, just because of the population differences between the areas you go. Was there ever any discussion, or is it just still, hey, let's stay the course on the RPI angle?
Yeah, nothing new than what they did with the whole free and reduced.
Yeah. Which really didn't
small
change
percentage. No,
yeah.
It sent Des Moines North and Sioux City West down to 4A, and I mean, heck, they're probably in worse shape right now. I mean, there's 4A top to bottom is pretty competitive.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is. It's unique, but here we are.
Everybody's got to deal with it, right?
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
So one of the things we've talked about depth. You talked about 2 18-year-olds on the roster, but I know even talking to Coach Mann near the end of baseball season about football, talking to you in the preseason, it really was you were opening up a present at Christmas that you really didn't know what was in there. If they had experience, they didn't have size. If they had size, they didn't have experience. Now we sit here at 1-6. We're going to have Jaxson Hinkle on here in the next segment. What can you say about that, playing so many sophomores? Where has their maturation been, and what do you really see for them as you finish up this year and what the future looks like?
Yeah, I think playing all those young guys, we're coaching them up hard. At the same time, we're learning a lot about what they can do and what they are, and how tough they are, how quickly they pick up schemes and things like that. And so that's definitely a positive and stuff that we can build off of moving forward. We can really individualize who needs what, both offensively and defensively, and continue to grow from there in the off season.
Is there a couple sophomores that have really jumped off the page as you watch film during the season? I know you had some names before the season, but really during the season that you've been impressed by?
I think Jackson's one of them.
Yeah.
He's got good size. He came in and, we threw him right in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
We're on him a lot. I'm sure he's sick of it, but he never complains. He's a real tough kid, and broke that collarbone last week, and you didn't hear him whine or complain or anything about it. So, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, we'll get him healthy and be able to continue to build off that and make sure he's starting to pick up on schemes, even more and what we're trying to do in our offense, and he'll be a fun one to follow and work with. And but I think that entire group as a whole, we've been very, very happy with. It's been they're in a tough position this year where most years a lot of sophomores aren't asked to do what our kids are doing this year.
Yeah.
And, I told you a couple weeks ago, but it's tough for us as well. We need to make sure that our softs aren't going out there and just getting their butts kicked every night. We got to guarantee that they're out there getting better every single day and every single Friday night. And I think for the most part, we're seeing a lot of improvements. So.
And Jaxson kind of, as Brandon and I have called games, there always seems to be a sophomore in about week 3 that we're just starting to say their name a little bit more. I remember very clearly that was Clay Jakey. And then it became Owen Eaton, Lincoln Barker last year. Now this year, Jaxson would be one of them. As you continue to look for as the losses have piled up, what are you telling your sophomores? What are you telling Jacob Hayes under Nice Center to get them just locked in to say, hey, there's a bigger picture here? Because this is a team, as sophomores, a lot of playing time that will pay off as seniors.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to look into the future and think, okay, what are we going to do next year as juniors? What are we going to do as seniors? And I really try I try really hard to pull them back and keep them where their feet are and coach them up just like they are seniors. And
staying in the moment can be one of the difficult things, right?
And it's really hard for 16, 17-year-olds to do.
Yeah.
It's tough. They want to think about their future at all times, and I get that. But, be the best where you are right now and just get after it, So that's what we've been doing pretty consistently all year, and they've been handling it well.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest jump is? Is it from sophomore to junior, or is it from junior to senior? Where do you kind of feel like that biggest
like physically?
jump? Like just physically and maybe like the mental aspect of understanding the game and that kind of thing?
I honestly think it's between freshman and sophomore year.
Oh, really?
It's such a huge difference.
Especially from middle school to,
I think I was just telling someone today, I think between a kid's 8th grade and 10th grade year of high school, the difference in person and athlete that these kids are is just incredible.
They can grow almost a foot in that
Oh,
time. I know
yeah.
my son almost grew that much. You're like, holy cow.
Yeah, and then even like the maturity part of it as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it's incredible sometimes.
Which, and you have a really good freshman
Yeah.
class. We've seen play after play from those guys during the freshman games, even last week against Ames in the varsity game. Some of the younger guys were able to get some playing time out there. Is this a really good group of kids, kind of like that sophomore class coming up, do you feel?
So our freshman groups had a pretty unique situation.
Yeah.
They didn't win a single game in 7th and 8th grade. They showed up this summer and started getting after it. And, I just think the additional practice and then the grit that they've shown on a consistent basis is really starting to pay off, and they're starting to see the benefits of that. And, they're going out there and competing and winning games without, Tyler England, who's one of the better athletes in that class, who brings a lot to the table for them. And, other guys are stepping up and playing bigger roles, and it's awesome to see. So, really excited to work with them in the next 3 years as well.
Well, 7th grade, I was told this, I don't know if you can back it up, but 7th grade when they beat DCG was the first 7th or 8th grade win in a few years. Is that right?
I don't know for sure. They
Because I know you said the freshmen.
Yeah. It might have been. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know, they play a pretty brutal schedule. They
Yeah.
got Dowling,
Yeah.
Urbandale twice.
Yeah.
They play. They play all.
It's
the
not
big
an easy
hitters.
gauntlet, that's for sure.
No, and there's some pros and cons to that as well. I mean, it's better than going and playing. You name the Class A school, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, if we can get those guys to make it through 7th and 8th grade and understand the big picture, then it's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, you look at, and we've talked about this a little bit of, growing a culture, but like the MFL, having those kids out there last Friday night, those are the kind of things that help, I'm sure, establish at a young age that Bobcat pride and kind of growing up. Is that kind of how you see last Friday night?
It's huge. It's huge. Those guys love being out there, and then we talked to our kids. When you were in their shoes, you loved it too.
Right.
You looked up to these guys. They were your heroes in a sense. And one more Saturday this weekend, so we're going to have some guys out there supporting them. So just like they were there last week supporting us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this Friday night on the road at Lincoln at the new MediaCom Stadium. I haven't been by there, but when we flew back in, I saw it, and it looks really good. I've seen some photos, and looks like a phenomenal venue. Going to have a good opponent, though. Lincoln Rail Splitters, they're 3-4. They ran for 1,700 yards this year. This is a run-first team, and that's going to be probably the message tomorrow night.
Yep. Stop the run. Stop number 2. It seems like Lincoln's got a solid running back year in and year out.
It's like
I
10
know
yards a carry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of yards.
Yep. And he didn't play a week ago, so I know he's banged up a little bit, and they got some other guys that are pretty hurt, but very similar teams. So we got to bring the energy tomorrow night and play our game. So. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Adam Goodvin, head coach for the Marshalltown Bobcats. We'll continue to talk football coming up with Alan Mann and Jaxson Hinkle. Thanks for the time tonight, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right. This is Bobcat Live. You're watching it right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Zach Wall can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started by giving Zach Wall a call at 641-752-3017 in Marshalltown or visiting edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
There's a city within a city not far from here. The city includes a beautiful apartment building with indoor parking, a chapel, a movie theater, a swimming pool, exercise and recreational facilities, putting greens, and more. The city isn't really a city, but it is a wonderful place to live. Make friends and live your best life. It's the Embers Retirement Community in Marshalltown. The Embers provides security, independence, and companionship. Beautiful grounds outside and lovely studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments inside. See it for yourself. The Embers in Marshalltown.
Pushed out of the pocket. Barker is chasing and getting it to him. Wade throws late over the middle of the field. Is it picked? Do the Bobcats have it? Yeah, they do!
At Honest Heating and Cooling, they take comfort seriously. Their latest offering? Smart Integrity Monitoring. Combined with an honest maintenance plan, it takes all the guessing out of home comfort. Their technicians take accurate measurements of all the necessary parameters and deliver you the truth about where your home's comfort stands. If you're not measuring, you're just guessing. That's honest. Get a Smart Integrity Monitoring plan and let the Honest team watch over your home's comfort 24/7. Honest Heating and Cooling.
With over 10,000 cars at our disposal, Jensen Ford...
Hold on. That's not really how we do things at Jensen Ford.
How about, it's never been a better time to buy a brand new...
Yeah, we don't really do that either. When you're ready to buy a car, we'll be ready to help.
Try this. We'll get you in and out faster than a speeding...
We don't do that either. At Jensen Ford, we'll take as much time as you need to find the right vehicle. We're not just moving cars, but we're building relationships.
Oh, maybe more of a... This is where your family buys their vehicles.
There you go. More like that.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live here on KFJB-TV. Brandon Lewis, Dylan Does, now joined by Alan Mann, as well as Jaxson Hinkle. Coach Mann, how are you?
Doing well. Been doing this coaching thing since about February.
Yeah.
So need a little break.
I was going to say, you've had a long run here, because you didn't really get a whole lot of time off, I'm sure, between baseball and football. I mean, that was maybe 2 weeks of a little bit of down-ish time.
Yeah. My wife convinced me. She said, if you take this baseball job, we're going on vacation. So we did. We went to Greece, went on a cruise. So I was off about a week and a half, and we're right back into football.
Nice.
That's a great learning process. Brandon,
Yeah.
We're going to coach something, and then we're going to go on a cruise to Greece. This sounds fantastic.
Win-win.
How was Greece, by the way?
It was awesome. It
Yeah.
was awesome. Unbelievable experience. I don't know if I can even put into words, the experience of everything we went through.
Did you eat some Euros?
Yeah. One.
Okay. One?
But,
Okay.
The food there was amazing.
I bet.
About maybe the best I've ever had. I don't know the names of a lot of it, but
it's like me and Peruvian food.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the season roll along. It's hard to believe. Week number 8 already. We talked a little bit before the season got going and everything about just the strength and conditioning aspect. From week 1 to now, I'm sure, obviously there's injuries and there's guys that are getting worn down. They're playing both ways. How are you trying to still keep them fresh this time of year?
It's a challenge because a lot of it does fall on their own shoulders where they need to go to bed at night. They need to make sure they're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner on top of a couple snacks and making sure that they're pushing water throughout the day. But from a weight room standpoint, if a kid is dinged up, we'll modify things. We do encourage kids to always come in, even if they are hurt or dinged up a little bit. This would be an exception. There's not much that Jaxson can do right now, but it's good for kids to move, get blood flow going, and typically they bounce back, each Friday. And for a lot of kids that play both ways, that's all we can really ask right now. We just got to get them feeling good enough by next Friday, and I think up to this point we've done an okay job of that.
So where are guys lifting right now compared to what they were lifting, before the season, that kind of thing? How many days a week?
We're still going twice a week. Last week was our last week of being heavy. So when I say heavy, we're 90% of our big lifts. So bench press, clean, squat. And now we're in our peaking phase, which started Tuesday morning. And then that carries over this week, next week. And the plan is built through a full 14 weeks all the way up through the state championship. We won't get there this year, but a plan will always be in place to where we want kids feeling their most fresh, fast, and as you just mentioned, as healthy as they can be when the games really matter most.
And one of the things we talked a lot about in the offseason was who's going to be that new weight room leader, who is going to be that peer-led person that helps give encouragement, not just show, but actually talk, encourage. Have you found that person as the season has progressed?
Honestly, not yet. A lot of the kids do a really good job. The work ethic's there. Right now, I'd say they all lead by example right now, which is awesome. We'll start teaching the kids more traits and skills on how to become more better and improved vocal leaders. But at the moment, the kids are being coachable. They put forth a great effort, and that's all we can ask. We'll just continue to teach and coach to the best of our ability. And at some point, we'll take a step back and kids will lead everything themselves. And that's when we know that, we're back in a good spot.
That's what you hear all the time. Best teams that win championships and all that kind of stuff, they communicate. They have leaders that are vocal, right? I mean, that's a commonality amongst successful teams, right?
Absolutely. And this is an extreme example, but I just watched a video on Twitter today. Georgia at halftime, weren't they down to South Carolina 14-0 or something like that? And it wasn't even the coaching staff that got up in front of the kids and said, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z. It was player A, player B, player C getting up and saying, hey, remember, we need to do this. We need to focus on this. And when you're at that point, you're going to be highly successful. And that's what we all try and strive to get our kids to do. When we're
and I think they shut out South Carolina or only gave up one score in the second half.
I think they did.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Jaxson Hinkle with us. I know all season you've been a mainstay on that offensive line. Unfortunately, Coach kind of told everybody a broken collarbone. How have you been doing? How have you been feeling since the injury last Friday?
Taking Tylenol, like ibuprofen, just trying to stay in it.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of all pain, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What was the initial reaction? Were you kind of a little bit in shock? Did you even know that something had happened?
It kind of felt good at like just the beginning. Like as soon as I felt the pop, I was like, ooh, and then it kind of kicked in.
I bet. Initial rush, I'm sure, of the body. So as this season has gone along, being able to be out there and get those reps, how did you feel your game grew from week 1 to last week?
I think I got less scared of what I was doing in game and just using what I learned in practice. Because first game I was just absorbing, and then I was executing.
And I talked a little bit with Coach Goodvin, but it seems every year there's a sophomore that comes up. I remember the first time we saw Clay Jakey near mid to end of the season, his sophomore year. It's like, holy cow, who is this kid? And then you had that a little bit with Owen Eaton and Lincoln Barker as well. You this year were the one, I think about week 3, I was like, we're sure saying Jaxson Hinkle a lot. When you look at that, who's somebody else on that defensive line and that offensive line that you really look to as maybe a mentor or somebody that you can look at and learn positive skills from?
Of course, Owen and then Ignacio.
Yeah.
They're just ripping through the line every single play.
I will say Ignacio is one of my favorite players to watch just because his size, but his ability just to dominate guys 60, 70 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, that is for sure. The offensive line, still a fairly young group. I know some seniors and juniors mixed in there. The success maybe not there, but how do you know that you guys are getting better every week, or at least going out there? Is there a message that you've kind of heard that's kind of stuck with you to be able to keep you fighting and really striving to do your best out there on Friday night?
We're just kind of communicating back and forth with each other, reading plays back and forth, giving info, input, all that stuff. It's on what stuff we can do better at. It's working.
Yeah, that's good. What other activities are you involved in?
I was going to do wrestling, and I'm definitely doing track.
Okay.
Kind of threw a wrench in it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, just a little bit.
Collarbone pretty important in wrestling.
Yeah, it is for sure. When I don't know if we've ever really talked about this a little bit, but I look at Jackson Bowie last year, who suffered a pretty horrible injury during the Lincoln game last year. Is there a plan in place, kind of like a rehab plan for some of these guys to help them through the process? Because I'm sure you could probably feel a little alone when this kind of thing happens.
Yeah, right now it's a waiting game. We have to always hear back from the kids and the family surgeon if they're meeting with a surgeon. And then the next step is Avery, Coach Mobberly, who works for Sports Plus, and he's our trainer here at the high school, and he does a great job. So him and I collaborate on putting together workouts and things that kids need to do. They may go to the clinic, do something in the morning, and then they can come join me in the afternoon, maybe do a couple things in addition to what they're already doing. But we really just have to trust people that's kind of smarter than us and go with it. And then the kids, we try and stay positive with them because it is a frustrating thing. And, I don't know from experience, but working with enough kids, I know that rehabbing and working back from an injury can be kind of a frustrating thing, and it takes time because you want to be better now. So we just got to continue to be positive and just say, hey, it'll get better. We just got to continue to stay consistent with this whole thing.
Yeah. Where have you seen the offensive line this year and kind of working with them, where they have really grown the most?
Yeah, a lot of it's just been, as Jaxson just touched on, is their confidence from week 1 to now. I think early on the game was very fast, so scheme, kind of went out the window a little bit because we just weren't really sure where to go. And if you hesitate, especially with that group up front, you're going to struggle. But where we've been the last few weeks has been better. We could still move people a little better, but some of that's due to lack of size, lack of strength, and those are things that we can work on. But from a standpoint of playing fast and knowing where we're going, we are executing at a much better clip than we were 8 weeks ago.
So, Jaxson, one of the things that I always think of is, okay, season's still going, but your season is over. How do you best be a good teammate, stay engaged over the next 2 games?
Stay at practice, go to games, just help out best I can. Keep the keep the emotions high. Just keep people happy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm a big Colorado fan, and Travis Hunter's been out, but he's helping coach guys. Yeah. I think that is huge. Either a rally or on the sideline, that kind of stuff. That makes a big difference to those guys for sure.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, I got my Colorado mention in there.
That's right.
Hey, thanks so much for being on tonight. Appreciate it, Jaxson. All right, Coach Mann.
Yep, thank you.
The grind continues.
Yes, it does.
Hey, we talk swim and dive when we come back. This is Bobcat Live from Wayward Social and Rosie's on KFJB-TV.
How can you help Marshalltown High School and enjoy a mouth-watering burger at the same time? By ordering the Bobcat Burger at Legends American Grill. 2 quarter-pound patties with crisp bacon strips, sautéed onions, and melted American cheddar, jack, and Swiss cheeses on top of fresh shredded lettuce on a toasted bun. It's absolutely delicious. $1 from every Bobcat Burger sold is donated by Legends to Marshalltown High School activities. So, enjoy a Bobcat Burger and help MHS. The Bobcat Burger, another exclusive from Legends American Grill in Marshalltown.
The equity in your home is power. Power to remodel your home. Take a memorable vacation. Add a deck or patio. Lennox Employees Credit Union can help you unleash the financial power you possess with a home equity loan. Consolidate debt, fund a student loan, or pay for a wedding. The loan process is easy. See Lennox Employees Credit Union, 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. Online at lennoxecu.com. Small businesses are the backbone of our community. Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce reminds you that when you shop locally, you are benefiting members of our community and adding to our local community overall. You'll find local business owners are generally more knowledgeable, provide better service, and even know their customers by name. Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce exists to be an advocate for our business community. Membership in the Chamber benefits your business and adds to the strength of our advocacy efforts. For more information on shopping locally and Chamber membership, go to marshalltown.org.
Why choose Marshalltown Community College for your education?
A quality education.
Hands-on career training.
Convenient on-campus living.
One-on-one attention from my instructors.
Earning my AA degree and transferring to university, all while saving money.
Why was MCC the right choice for me? The great student activities and the friends I met.
2 convenient locations and the option to take online classes.
The right choice is MCC.
Welcome back into Bobcat Live here on KFJB-TV. Swim and dive with us here tonight as Angie. How are you? Angie Nelson with us.
I'm doing great today.
We missed you last time. You were like in Chicago or something, I think.
South Dakota, I think, for work. Yep,
okay.
but
not as good as, well, Chicago's a little rough these days.
So Leah came. You said she did a good job.
She did an amazing job, and it was really fun to kind of get. That's what I love about Bobcat Live is we always get different perspectives from we're not just talking to football all the time. We get that different perspective. And it's so interesting because you always learn something, especially like, my sister swam, and, I went to meets and kind of learned a little bit, but not to this level. When you start asking people questions and finding out how the sport works, it's really interesting. We have Abby. How are you?
I'm good.
And you dive, and you're a phenomenal diver. I didn't know this, but I was on Varsity Bound, and you're going to Iowa State. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of senior year. Obviously, a lot. Kind of, as you look into, it's your final year. Obviously, is what I'm trying to say. So, this is kind of where everything culminates, right?
Yep.
And putting everything together, you feel like you're having one of your best all-time seasons.
I think that the work I've been putting in has been showing. I'm still waiting to put in a few new dives, but I think this season's been super exciting so far. And I'm excited for the rest.
Yeah, I would have to say so because you lead the state in both the 1 meter diving and the 1 meter diving 6 and 11. What's the differences between the 6 and 11? What is that? There's just the height? Or what's going on there?
No, it's actually just the competition. So in our dual meet season, we do 6 dives in a dual meet.
Oh, okay.
And then on our invitationals, we do 11. So championships are always 11 dives.
Okay.
And then most of the season, then we'll run a 6-dive schedule just because it goes a little faster in the middle of a dual meet.
Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. So when you prepare for those, that's quite the difference, right? How do you kind of prepare for those two different things?
For a 6-dive list, you're mostly just doing your optional dives, so like your harder dives. Mm-hmm. But for an 11-dive meet, you have to work more on the basics. So I would say if I was working towards a 6-dive, I would focus more on just like my twisters, my 2.5s, my everything in pike. But then if I was doing an 11-dive meet, I would also have to focus on all of my voluntaries, making sure they're crisp and clean.
So. And we talk about here is conference dive meets coming up, then of course state. Is now you're starting to get into that 11 dive. So, Angie, how do you work with Abby and getting her ready for that? Or Abby's been so successful, do you kind of trust her to kind of lead herself there?
Well, she's great, and she's a good worker. So we know what dives we need to get to each practice, especially when we're getting ready for 11. So when we have a 6-dive meet, we work on the list and we work on that voluntary that's at the beginning of the meet. So like next week for the JV kids when we host conference diving here, that's an inward. Yep. So we've got a couple of divers who'll be working on an inward dive instead of an 11-dive list. But with our 11-dive girls, we've just got to make sure that we sprinkle enough of those dives in that they get the repetitions that they need so that they feel confident and prepared before the meet.
In this industry that Dylan and I work in, it's a little subjective. Is diving like that as well? Because scores can operate a little bit different judge by judge. Is that right? Yeah. You feel that?
Yeah.
So you feel that just kind of, like, how do you kind of get past that? Just perfection of each technique, or what would that be?
It's more just like I don't look at the scores. I don't let myself see the scores because then it makes me like change my mind about how I think I did. I more just like to after the meet watch my videos, and that like helps me validate how I did rather than looking at scores because like a score can always change like if someone else saw it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And that's really, it has to take a ton of just confidence and awareness to know if I dive my dive, I'm going to be all right. Where does that confidence come from?
Well, I did gymnastics in my childhood, so most of my confidence comes from my background in gymnastics, I would say. But also, I'm nervous when I go. It's not like I'm like super ready to go. I'm definitely a little nervous. I just have to kind of keep it on the inside rather than let everyone know I'm nervous while I'm going.
I found myself in a very weird situation down in Florida last week. I had a 15-minute conversation with Olympic diver Steele Johnson in the 10 meters. So I was asking him, all right, Steele, you've got a great name, but I'm 42. Can I start this career? You're at the 10 meter. Goes, well, really, you're old. I'm 27, and it'd be old. So I was like, so I just need to start now. And he said, I don't think my efforts to get to any of the Olympics are going to come up, but when you talk about that is when you think of speaking to the younger kids on the team as a leader, not just maybe verbal and things, but you've been so successful, set such a high bar. How do you hand that off to other divers on the team that look up to you?
Well, this season is definitely more of a building year. We do have 2 newbies, which is really fun, actually. Me and Angie have been working together to help with drills, just to figure out what works for them best. And I think come next year, they'll all step up and they'll do really, really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you say to your seniors, or do you have to say anything to upperclassmen about being and setting a good example or showing and kind of, because that helps build a culture, I'm sure, of like establishing winning or, the competing side of things, or just being a good leader in general?
Yeah, we've had that conversation a couple of times here in the last few weeks. Is leave it like you would love to leave it for these younger kids coming up. And this is a great class. We've had all 5 of my seniors for all 4 years, and they've all been very successful. Not just successful athletes, but successful students and great leaders on the team. So I think one of the things that we just want is that work ethic. If they can leave behind a little bit of that work ethic, then these girls who are coming up, they kind of know. They know what's acceptable. They know what's not acceptable, and it comes from them. I can yell and scream all day. That's not my personality at all, but I can do that, but I don't want to do that. If these girls take care of that work for us, then the next year, these girls know how to do what they're doing, and then kind of make sure that these younger girls follow suit.
You still have the big jackets, right, that you wear in between?
No. Well, we have warm-ups. We still have them for diapers.
I was going to say, I
still wear it. It's cold in there.
I was going to say, we need those tomorrow night when we're in the rain for football tomorrow. I didn't know if we could borrow those.
Yeah, you do need them.
I think do you have a dive meet coming up?
We do. So this Saturday we host an 11 dive meet here, and it'll be at the YMCA. And it's a big meet. It brings in girls from all over the state, 1, because they want to get on the state boards, but 2, just because it's a really nice meet and it's just diving. And we do a no-cut, which means if you're a team that has 4, you can bring that 4th girl if you're still trying to decide who you're going to dive at regionals. So it's a nice opportunity for all the girls to do 11. And we don't cut at the championship meets. If there's too many girls, then they cut them off after a certain round. So at state meet, we cut after 5, and then we cut after 8. So it's a different. You have to rearrange your list differently.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that on Saturday this week, and then next week we'll be hosting conference diving here, and we'll be doing that at Marshalltown High School.
Did you just learn that was going on?
I didn't know it was
we're
actually
host
at the
that,
high school.
Abby. Did you know that? There you go.
We're all learning something here tonight. When you dive different places, is it much different, or is it all very similar? Or the boards react different, or what?
Every board is very different, I would say. Every time you get to a meet at an away board, it's a learning curve, I would say. Definitely lots of just doing some jumping on the end, getting used to like a different board's spring and timing. Okay.
So do you get certain amount of reps to be able to warm up to practice?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's a time limit, kind of. I mean, like when warm-ups are over, you're done. Okay. And then right before the diving meet, you get 2 turns on the board. Okay. To re-warm up, like after the swimmers go for dual meets.
Yeah. Wow.
But it is different. So we were in Fort Dodge. What was the Fort Dodge? Which was slippery, right?
Oh, yeah, it was slippery.
Super slippery. We went to Cedar Rapids, Washington earlier in the season. It didn't have arm rails.
Oh, wow.
So what did that do?
It feels like you're on a balance beam and a diving board at the same time.
Sure. Yeah. That you experience it all, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the, you think about how successful Abby's been, and one of the things that she does really well is adjust. You've got to adjust to the different boards that you're on all the time and make a great meet despite it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because, you could let that hold you back, but it's only going to hamper scores. All right, so what's left on the docket on the swimming side of things?
Well, so obviously the next couple of meets are diving only. Yep. And then Thursday we go to Ames for the conference meet.
Okay.
So that's our
swimming. Now, is swim and dive all at that one, or is that 2 different?
They're 2 different nights. Okay. So we'll host the diving portion here on Tuesday, and then on Thursday we go to Ames for the swimming portion.
Okay. All right.
And that's just a surprise. We just decided that we were going to host that last week. So we hosted last year both nights at the Y, and that worked out great for the size of the meet that it was going to be. Yeah. This year, the diving portion of the Iowa Alliance, excuse me, I've been here too long. So the Iowa Alliance Conference is a little bit smaller numbers for diving. So there's just a few schools that actually have diving in our Iowa Alliance Conference. But then we've got a large amount of swimmers, so we need the bigger pool for that.
Yeah. I wonder, too, like, you don't do any swim events. You just strictly dive?
Well, I try. I try
Okay.
to get her to swim.
Not my forte.
but I've got to think that would be pretty tough, though. I mean, how would you split up your time? Do you have a lot of crossover?
Oh, for girls?
Yeah, for
Leia
girls.
Hernandez, she's kind of sitting out here in the audience. Hello,
Okay.
Leia. Anyway, Leia, she dives and swims, but we really have needed her this year with such a small squad. We've really needed her for the points whenever we're in a close meet. And I feel like, it's a good use of her time, too. But we want her to develop as a diver as well. We just need her points. She's a really good swimmer.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for coming on. Nice to meet you, Abby.
Nice. You as well.
Yeah. Angie Nelson, give it up. And we've got some ladies back here.
We do. We have some of our team members down there.
Okay. Who can you see out there?
Well, I have my sophomore Libby Meyer, and I have Alex as one of our freshmen from West Marshall. I have Leia. She's our other freshman. She goes to Marshalltown. I have Kate Hauser, who's another diver for us. She goes to West Marshall.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well represented around the county of Marshall, right? GMG,
Yeah.
West Marshall, Marshalltown. So.
Yeah, we have a really unique environment
Yeah.
because of all of the different schools that are that send girls to be a part of our team.
That's cool. I always love how much we learn on Swim and Dive Night here on Bobcat Live. Thanks so much, ladies.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Hey, we will talk volleyball. We've been learning volleyball all year long, too. We'll talk with Kaylee, and also here with us tonight, Jordyn Daggett. This is Bobcat Live from Wayward Social on KFJB-TV.
You'll find the perfect mattress for you at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress. You choose the firmness, comfort, and support level, all at a great price. McGregor's always has a great selection of sofas, recliners, dining room, and bedroom furniture to help you live and relax in comfort and style. Their staff will help you find just what you're looking for. McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown, is open 7 days a week. They're proud to support Bobcat Athletics.
You should never have to wait after ordering new appliances. At Penn's Appliance, you wouldn't. With an incredible selection in stock and ready to install today. Our friendly team is here to help you pick the perfect set to match your style. And let our professional technicians install and set up your new appliances, often delivering the very next day. Stop in today, see all the new features, and find your new look at Penn's Appliance. For sales and service of everything appliance, go see the Pence team.
As you walk inside, you know right away the place for fun is Wayward Social. There's always plenty of bowling action, so plan for your next outing to include bowling at Wayward Social. Also, meet your friends at their outdoor patio, Gutter Point, for lunch, dinner, or your favorite beverages. Daily lunch specials, Monday through Friday, including endless pizza by the slice. You choose the toppings. Wayward Social is now open at 11:30 a.m., 7 days a week. Wayward Social, South 6th Street, Marshalltown.
You're an empty nester closing in on that retirement property. Chances are your plans didn't include mom moving in, but life happens and you do the right thing. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When retirement means caring for yourself and a loved one, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
Back in on Bobcat Live. Hey, that's right. Be sure to show the student ID and get a discount on food here tonight. Also, $3 off a small pizza. I'm fending for myself tonight. It's power of the purse, and people are going. So I might get a cauliflower crust here tonight.
There you go. That's you're a self-made man here, Brandon. Your wife is gone. You can purchase your own picca.
I do the cooking mostly anyway. It doesn't really matter what night it is. All right, enough about that. Me in the kitchen. Jordyn Daggett with us here. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Kaylee Peschong, how are you?
Great.
Good. 3-0 the other night. Roosevelt took you down. What was kind of your message to the team after that one? I know you wanted to be real competitive with them, but they had senior night and a lot going on down there in Des Moines.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a lot about mental toughness and just, they're going to get runs. They started out both that first and that second set, huge runs on us. And so I said, they're going to get their runs. We just cannot count ourselves out. And I think that there were moments there where we kind of counted ourselves out. And so we talked about that, and we've been working on that a lot this week, the last couple of days.
Saw that maybe a little bit in the second set there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a tough situation because, they had a good crowd. It's senior night. Everybody's kind of revved up, it seemed like they were going. And then they're a very interesting team. They really, I thought, played pretty fast and really attacked. And so I could see how they could get on a team real quick, and then it kind of gets out of hand. And rebounding from that is what that's all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I know we knew that going in. They play with a lot of passion and stuff like that. And so we knew that game added extra passion with it being senior night and all of that. So, yeah, we just talked a lot about, being mentally tough and in those moments when there's adversity, being able to overcome those, never counting ourselves out.
Yeah. Jordyn, what was your big learning lesson, I guess, from Tuesday night to be able to move on and get focused on conference now coming up this weekend?
We really wanted that win, but I think for me personally, it was just more of staying focused in the game and really making sure I know everything that's going on and talking and being able to play with the team and also stay calm in my mind.
Mm-hmm. And Jordyn, you're hearing Coach say, we allow runs to happen. You saw that happen. But also knowing you're a leader on the team and that desire to be positive. We hear that all the time with the volleyball team. As a team leader, both you're getting coached up as saying, hey, you can't allow runs, but you're also the peer that people look up to. So what's your role when Coach is really trying to say we've got to do something different? How can you communicate that, or how do you communicate that to teammates?
I try to just make sure we stay positive. I really push them. I tell them what we need to do and receive or when we're in position to score. So
I could see how it'd be easy to try to stay positive, though, because you've got Kaylee.
Yeah.
She's always positive. And then, like we had Ella Rausch on recently. She seems like she's a good positive influence. So it seems like a really good senior class that you have this year. And I know you've also accomplished a lot as well at conference. You've been really, really competitive this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we have a special senior class.
Yeah.
They've been really great, and their leadership has been really great. So, yeah.
And you've talked about Jordyn a couple times on the broadcast. What, as you look at her as a leader and as a player, what are the things that just jump off the court to you when you think of Jordyn?
Yeah, her consistency. I feel like she's very consistent. I've talked a lot about her ball control on here. Yeah. She's someone that we've switched around different positions. She's pretty much played every position, I think, on the court as a Bobcat, and so that's been really cool. She's someone you can just rely on. She knows she plays really well at all positions. She has great ball control, so that's really good.
All right, conference tournament coming up this Saturday, and you're going to play everyone.
Yes.
What's the schedule so people can know?
Yes, I brought it with me, so I didn't forget. We start out with Ottumwa and Roosevelt right off the get-go, and then we have Ames and Fort Dodge, and then we end with Lincoln. So those are the top 6 teams in the Iowa Lions Conference.
Okay, and I know you guys want to be conference champs. Mm-hmm. What is the path to that victory on Saturday?
It's really being mentally tough here. These are all great teams. We've faced almost all of them. Besides Lincoln, we faced them all. And so being able to stay positive, battle through the whole day. It's going to be a long day. It's a lot of volleyball, and it's great competition all the way through. So, again, that mental toughness piece is really, really important this Saturday, showing up ready to go, being able to move on from mistakes, things like that, and get back into it so we can win.
One thing that weekends have been tough on the Bobcats, but in this case, you've played all, except for Lincoln, like you said. How much does that change, do you think, when you're looking into a weekend when you really don't know who you're going to play to now? Yes, it's a weekend, but you also have scouts on most of these teams.
Yes, yeah, I think it does make a huge difference. I also think there is a piece of our team that is like super excited to get that one back. You know, there's some that we've lost, like Roosevelt and things like that. It's like they want to get that one back. So I
Fort
think
Dodge is definitely one that I know it was right. You were right there. You know.
Yep. We actually lost to Atumwa last weekend, and so that's one there that I know we've all talked about. Like, oh, I want to get that one back. And so I do think we're going into it with some passion. Like we really want to beat these teams, so I think that helps too.
First to best of 5 will be best of 3.
Yeah,
sorry.
2 of 3. Yep.
I said best of 3, and then I don't know what was going on. Anyway, so best of 3 will be the format on Saturday. So you've done that a lot though on weekends. I think you put together a challenging schedule to this point. You've taken on some really tough, like you went down to Southeast Polk. I know there was some tough teams there. So you feel like you've challenged this team a lot to set up to make not conference easier, but at least prepared?
Yeah, absolutely. We have had a pretty tough schedule, and we've played a lot of, good teams, really great teams, really. So I do think that we're prepared. We're ready. I just hope we can show up and get it done this Saturday.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take as well? I mean, Coach mentioned some of the aspects there about being able to win this conference tournament.
I think we just need to keep our head in it, stay in it, not give up, play through the whole game, and if they start getting runs, we just need to stay focused and play our game and don't play to their level. And
yeah. Playoffs start on Tuesday. I know that it's kind of one thing at a time, but I'm sure it's hard. That's what I've always thought, like basketball. Yeah. You get your pairing before the season's even over, and so then that's there staring at you the entire time. How do you fight that off?
Yeah, it is something that I'm preparing for, and I have been preparing for. We've scouted, even after that first match.
That was Dylan. That was not coach speak right there. She was giving us the truth.
Because
most coaches were like, we're only looking at this weekend.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I have been preparing for that, but. With the team, we've just been talking about this weekend. This one's really, really important for us. And so once we get through this weekend, then we'll kind of move on to that next week. But, yeah, we do play at home, which is really exciting. So we'll play Tuesday at home against East.
First time for a while that Marshalltown's hosted, right?
Yep, since I've been here. It's the first time we've hosted, so that's exciting, really exciting. It's always important to play in front of our home crowd. We didn't have very many home games this year, so I'm excited that we can have another game in the Roundhouse.
Will that change next year as far as just the conference games will be flipped, basically?
Yep. So we should have a couple more at home next year, but, yeah, it changes every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just as saying going in, you've got conference, you've got district. What is your goal?
My goal is just to play the hardest that I can for my final games and just to really be with my team and have fun.
What would a conference championship mean to you?
It would mean everything to me. I really want to win really bad.
I mean, you guys have really, and we've already kind of alluded to a little bit, accomplished things, beating Ames this year, those kind of things, and just kind of continuing to move that momentum. Do you feel like now that you've been here this is your 4th year, right? In a place where you're kind of cultivating a little bit more of that winning mentality and getting the program in that right direction that you want to see it going?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got a really great staff too. I'm really big fan of my staff as well, and so I think that helps also. But it's just a never-ending, work on that culture and stuff, and it starts even at a younger age than high school, and so working with lower-level volleyball as well is really important. So it's just a never-ending task at hand to keep working on that culture. Yeah.
You'll see the game on Tuesday night. Dylan, will you be you better be watching.
I will be watching. I will say, every time you turn on any Bobcat broadcast, it's late because of a senior night. We have broadcast at about 47 senior nights in the last 3-4 years.
Jordyn, I hope you back me up on this. There is nothing that frustrates me more than senior night, which causes you to be a half an hour behind schedule. I mean, I don't think the Bobcats senior night was a half an hour late. She's just laughing back here.
Yeah. I know one thing that makes you angrier. It's a 5th quarter.
Yeah, that is true. A surprise 5th quarter in Ames. Anyway, does that make it tough? Because you're kind of sitting there like,
Yeah, we just have to sit with ourselves and think about the game, and then we just get to, our mind just keeps going and going.
I always try to get them in the hallway, moving, doing something, so they're not just sitting there watching. But it is difficult. Yeah.
Which I'm sure the weekend tournaments. I mean, what do you do this weekend? What will you do between some of your downtime?
Yeah, so we actually, with volleyball, you actually officiate between.
So
you sometimes do. Okay. you can we get tasked with line judging and things like that between. And then I always encourage us to have grab a bite to eat, things like that, so we can have some energy to play 2 in a row and things like that. So it is different with volleyball because you're off, but you're also kind of working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is
tough.
I'm trying to think basketball.
So you're a little bit tighter on
and then
games,
you're
right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That is a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people know that, but in volleyball, you'll be playing games, and then it's okay, we have to line judge, we have to score keep, we have to libero track, we have to do all of that.
That's like signing up to be a volunteer coach and then asking to go volunteer at the concession stand.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And we'll see you Tuesday nights as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll see the game right here on KFJB-TV. Looking forward to it. It's the East Scarlets inside the Roundhouse taking on the Marshalltown Bobcats. Thanks so much for everybody coming out tonight. Swim, dive, as well as football and volleyball here tonight. For Dylan Doze, our producer, Zach Tomish, I'm Brandon Lewis. You've been watching Bobcat Live from Wayward Social inside Rosie.